Hello and welcome, thanks for tuning in, it's nice to have you with us. Now in one of the last videos I introduced you to the existence of different detailing brushes which are available on the market. I also told you in this video that there is a compromise between chemical resistance and durability of those brushes, or softness or safeness for your car's paint, and in this video we will have a very close look at the topic of safeness. As you can see, I prepared a test panel which I will now polish to almost defect freeness, and then we will use those different brushes in order to see which ones of those are safe or unsafe for paint. Let me quickly explain the test setup. I already arranged the brushes from soft to hard, or from safe to not too safe. And I prepared a mug in which I squirted a tiny little bit of the Carchem 1900-1 shampoo. So it's definitely over concentrated, but with this we have a well lubricated liquid. And then I will use the brushes first on the upper parts of those test sections with no pressure at all. And then immediately afterwards we will have a look with the light what those brushes were able to do on the paint. Then we repeat the process also on the upper parts with a lot of pressure. Have a look there with the light what happened then. And afterwards I will use the liquid in conjunction with the brushes on the lower panels, once again, first with no pressure and then with a lot of pressure. And so let's start with this experiment. We start with the softest brush I have, which is this cosmetic style brush from Workstuff. So let's begin with the test. So let's see what this very, very soft brush created. And I think you can see, yeah, that we have very, very fine scratches already with this soft brush and no pressure at all. We'll now have a closer look. Yeah, especially in this section there up. There are some, yeah, now you can see them. So as I said, softest brush, no pressure, and we already created scratches. So now I will use the same brush, but with a lot of pressure. Now it gets interesting because I can already see with my bare eyes that there are scratches. I'll try to capture it for you. I think you can see in the light of the ceiling already what happened there. Now with this Scan Grip, yeah. So once again, if you are ham-fisted and use those tools in the wrong manner, then you create scratches. Interesting, but let's go ahead to the next brush. As you just saw, I used the Albino brush by Workstuff. So let's now see what happened there. Interesting. You see almost no scratches, or I would say at least as good as the currently also popular cosmetic brushes. Very, very, very impressive result. So let's go ahead and use that with a lot of pressure. So let's see what happened with the Albino brush and a lot of pressure. Well, now it gets interesting because, yes, we did cause damage, clearly visible, but this is the side with the cosmetic brush. This is the side with the Albino brush. I would say clearly less paint damage as with the cosmetic brush. Very, very interesting results. So let's go ahead and test the classical brush. So let's see what happened with the classic brush and no pressure or light pressure. Yeah, interesting. I would say at least as good as the cosmetic brush and the Albino brush. So let's see what happens if we use a lot of pressure with this one. Once again, results are visible by bare eye, but I will show it to you under the scan grip. We definitely created swirls there. And I would say worse swirls than with the Albino brush. Yep, definitely and visibly less. And compared to the cosmetic brush, I would also say at least as bad. Yep, clear results. So let's now go ahead and test the classic black brush. So let's see what happened with the classic black brush with no pressure or light pressure. Yeah, we did create some swirls, but not worse than with the others. Okay, so let's now go ahead and use it with a lot of pressure. So let's see what happened with the classic black brush. Yeah, I think you see it. We created nasty swirls. However, I would say on par with the classic brush, non-black, which makes sense because they are pretty much the same. Yeah. But once again, compared to the Albino and the cosmetic one, not actually that bad. So once again, it's wrong technique that creates swirls and not necessarily the tool you use. Interesting. So let's now go ahead and use the probably worst one, the stiff chemical resistant brutal brush. Maybe you could already hear it. I could. It didn't sound that nice. However, it's not actually that bad, to be honest. I would say not much worse than with any of the other brushes. And that's why we'll now go ahead and use this with a lot of pressure. Ooh. This is definitely one thing which I don't recommend you do at home because it sounded horrible and I would slap myself if it wasn't for this test. And yes, you can see very, very deep scratches. I mean, compared to the cosmetic brush, did create more swirls. However, that with the hard chemical resistant one, those swirls are significantly deeper, which makes perfect sense. So combination of bad technique and wrong tool is not a good idea. So we'll now go ahead and use all those brushes with the shampoo liquid. So let's see what happened there. We start with the cosmetic brush. The scratches you see which run from top to bottom are from the towel I used or are rests from the shampoo. But I think we don't see any circular ones, swirls, which would have been created by the brush. However, one aspect about those cosmetic brushes I already told you in the first video is, maybe I can show it to you. Yeah, these bristles start to stick to each other and then there is not that much left in terms of the softness compared to the Albino brush or the classic brush, with which this issue is much less pronounced. But that's just a side note there. Let's go ahead and see what happened with the Albino. Yeah, once again, from top to bottom you see rests of shampoo, but you see no circular scratches. Interesting. Classic brush, the same. No circular swirls in there. The black classic brush, yeah, there are some. There are very, very few, but there are some. But it's not that I would say this test section is completely destroyed. Yeah, and now we see a difference with the hard and brutal chemical resistant brush. This definitely induced swirls, whereas all the other ones show very, very good results. So interesting, and we will now go ahead and use all the brushes with the shampoo, but a lot of pressure. I can already tell you I saw some shocking results, but let's go over it step by step. So, cosmetic brush, once again, there are swirls. Yes, less than when you use it dry. However, if you use it wrong with too much pressure, it is not as safe as most people will tell you. Then the Albino brush, once again, I would not say that this is worse than the cosmetic brush. Definitely not. No. Then classic brush, yeah, there are more. Definitely more than with the Albino. Yeah, classic black one, once again, significant one. And then the brutal hard brush. Oh, yes. Maybe you can remember my experimental video with dish soap. It's almost as bad as this. So wrong tool, wrong technique pretty much destroys your paint. And don't forget, wheels also have clear coat on them, so you will do the same if you use that on wheels. But I think we can now go to the conclusion of this video. So I think this was a very interesting video with very impressive results. More than anything else we saw in this video, that it is not necessarily the tool that creates scratches, but it is the wrong technique. Because we clearly saw that if you use such a soft cosmetic brush dry without lubrication and with too much pressure, then you create swirls, and quite significantly so. We also saw that if you use a wrong tool, which is this incredibly stiff and chemical resistant brush, you will definitely run a greater risk of inducing swirls on your car's paint, which reach deeper down into the clear coat and therefore will be harder to remove. So keep that in mind if you use these kind of brushes on your wheels. In regards to the cosmetic brush, I clearly have to say that I don't really understand the hype around these brushes and why so many people recommend them, because we clearly saw that just because something feels soft, it does not necessarily have to be soft or safe for your paint, because we saw that the white albino brush or the classic brush, which is available from many different brands, is almost as good, if not even better, at preventing scratches than this extremely soft feeling cosmetic brush. And this is exactly the reason why I always recommend to use these albino brushes from Workstuff, because they are pretty unique, or the classic brushes for exterior work, because we clearly saw that they are at least equally as good, if not even better, at preventing scratches if you use them the correct way. And more importantly, they will last you a significant amount of time longer, because they are more chemically resistant than those detailing brushes are. They are perfect for interior work, for removing light dust on delicate surfaces, but that's about it regarding those brushes. And with this video, I just provided you with proof or pictures so that you can understand why I recommend what I do. If you liked this video, leave us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!